Good morning, millionaires. Let's get it. Man, I was giving them this joint because it's Columbus Day. And I don't agree with this. Like, I know a lot of us call it Indigenous Americans Day and all of that. I don't agree with this one right here. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna explain why in a minute. I'm with tearing down most of the statues because we don't know their stories, right? But this dude Columbus has a lot of stories in it. His story has a lot of stuff in it that I feel like we can learn from. So we're gonna get into it today. My goal is to give you something to make you never look at Columbus the same way again this morning. So share this with an entrepreneur. If your babies are home from school, this might be a good one to have them tune in on. Text message this out to some of the, some of the you can't be woke and broke crowd. You know what I mean? Because I have a feeling you're going to pick something up this morning that's going to lend you a different perspective. That's all we're looking for is a different perspective out this joint, right? I hear you, Kermit. Kermit coming through with the bars. That's right. I like where you're going with that, Kermit. What's up, Taisha? Good morning, Queen. Man, Kermit doing a whole history lesson in the comments. Mr. Terry's in the house. What up, Mr. Terry? Good stuff. Crystal Clear is in the house. If you are on this past Kaizen Academy, please reach out so that we can get your testimony. We need to know what you thought about that class on habits. Was that thing fire? My man Arsenio in the house. Let's get it. Appreciate the shares, Mr. Terry. Kim Connor's in the house. I thought you'd love this. You were still up on time. I know you was, Miss Connor. But you know we doing it holiday hours today. Whenever it's a holiday, then we do it the same time we do it on weekends. You know what I mean? My man Dennis, my man D Money is in the house. Let's get it. What's up, Akeem? Let's get it. Yeah. I love it, Kim. I need a testimony from you, Miss Connor. That way people get it. Man, you better talk that talk, King. That's one of my favorite quotes from Frederick Douglass. Knowledge makes a man unfit to be a slave. My second favorite quote for him is that I prayed my whole life, but ain't nothing changed until I prayed with my legs. Ain't that something? He's like, I was praying on my knees my whole life, but ain't nothing changed till I prayed with my legs. We got to bust a move. What's up, Tiana? Hey, we salute the divinity in you too, Queen. Miss Shirley Nixon is in the house. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that, Miss Nixon. I'm so glad to hear that. I'm definitely going to need the testimonies. If you participated in the Kaizen Academy this past weekend, we need those testimonies. Because as we begin creating these pages, letting everybody know we for real, I don't want them just taking from me. You know what I mean? We are made in America. Most of us. And there's some good and there's some bad to it. Like you said, like you saw me say in the description, y'all know everything about them searching for this Brian dude who killed his blonde girlfriend. But y'all don't know nothing about the homie who was a grad student and they found him in the river, missing a jawbone, missing his organs. They said his brain was missing. It's in the Times. Google it. Google Jelani Day. Can somebody give me that in the comments? Jelani Day. Jelani Day was made in America too. You know what I mean? I'm going to go ahead and call it on this live line though. I know some of y'all think I done lost my rabbit mind. But nah, I ain't rabbit. And I'm quite lucid.
Special. You have greatness in you. Hello, this is Les Brown, and you're in the right place at the right time because we're going to bring the millionaire out of you. Just hold on.
Yeah, let's get it, y'all. Jelani Day. Jelani Day. Give me that in the comments, y'all. One time for Jelani Day. We know all about the Gabby lady.
All participants are muted.
But nobody even mentioned that.
Exit tones are on.
Okay. Good morning, millionaires. Good morning, millionaires. I hope you're feeling good this morning. My name is Haziq Ali, and today we're doing something special about Columbus Day. I'm going to hurry up and get to it because we don't have a lot of preamble because I got a lot to give you this morning. But my goal this morning, if you didn't catch the intro, if you wanted people to fast forward 5 minutes in while I'm DJing and stuff, my goal is to make you never look at Columbus Day the same way. Zig Ziglar has this famous thing that he talks about where he explains that America is the land of salesmen. And indeed, it was discovered by somebody who was not just a sailor, but he was also a seller. He didn't just have to sell his way to America. By that, I mean the ships and the wind and the, you know what I mean? But he also had to sell his way to America. A lot of people never realize this. He obviously wasn't a navigator. As you know, the reason they called them Indians is because he thought that he was charting a course to the West Indies, right? But what I can say for him is that he was an incredible salesman. Think about it. He only had one prospect. Think about that, at least in the beginning. And if he'd have missed the sale, then he'd have probably had to swim home. Now, that is sales at its essence. How many of us have what it would have taken to duplicate it? While we are saying how horrible he was as a human and all of that, I'm not going to disagree with a lot of that, although as I'm about to explain, there are two sides to every story. But I just want to start this off by kind of breaking something down for you, right? Because there's a real old book on selling that I think could change your life. I'm going to tell you the name of the book in a minute, but chapter 1 goes, begin by talking, right? Learn their dislikes. Learn your customers' hobbies, what they like, what they don't like. And then you want to base your approach on that. I'm just reading you the table of comments from this book. Chapter 2 goes, use more ear and less tongue, right? Chapter 3 is put service before samples, right? Study your customers' problems and needs before you try to help them solve the problem, right? Chapter 4 is mention quality before you mention a price. Chapter 5, don't take no for a final answer. Chapter 6, get down to the brass tacks quickly, right? You watch for your chance and then you take advantage. Chapter 7, build goodwill for your firm, right? You got to sell your company as well as selling your odds. This is an old school book on selling that many of you have never heard of. I'm going to break it down for you. Chapter 8, constantly search for new markets, right? Chapter 9, okay? Classify your time. How to value the different hours of the day. What is the best time to make a sale? I'm going to tie all of this together in a minute. Chapter 10, keep mentally and physically fit, right? Vaccinate yourself against worry, right? Chapter 10, that was chapter 10. Chapter 11, have a stout heart. You got to become a little bit of a philosopher if you're going to pull this off. And in chapter 12 is create welcomes for yourself. Chapter 12 is create welcomes for yourself. Is everybody with me so far? This is going to blow your mind, man, because this dude, Christopher Columbus, may deserve more respect than we give him. I understand that, you know, we consider him a pirate, a slave trader, not consider him. This is what history shows that he was, right? I know that when they got to the land, they spread smallpox and all these other diseases. But I want to give you a different frame of mind to look at this thing, because maybe, just maybe, you'll look at Columbus Day a little bit different. Let's look at chapter 1. Begin by talking to them. Learn your customers' hobbies and dislikes, right? Learn their likes and their dislikes, and then base your approach on these types of angles. Check this out, y'all. Do you know that before Columbus sailed off on this historic voyage, Spain and the rest of Western Europe were preparing to start another crusade to liberate North Africa and the Holy Land once again from the Muslims? They were sick of the Muslims' winning streak. I don't know how many of you realize it, but Islam is still the biggest religion on the entire planet. It's one of the 3 Abrahamic religions. It has as its crown jewel a book called the Quran, which is a perfectly, it's a mathematically perfect book. Many of you know, but algebra, alchemy, alcohol, algebra, all came from Al-Islam. The Quran is this mathematically perfect book that was given because God didn't want man to keep on tampering with his books. I don't know how many of you have read chapters like Ephesians, where it starts talking about a slave, you will obey your earthly master as though he were God who art in heaven. Like, stop playing. You know what I mean? Clearly somebody's tampering with some of these books, right? So then God delivered this book called the Quran, where the first sentence in a book tells you how many chapters are going to be in a book. It tells you how many different syllables are in each chapter. I mean, you can Google this. The book is mathematically perfect. And so when you got that kind of sales pitch going for your religion, you start to take things over. So what Spain and the rest of Western Europe were preparing to do was start a new crusade. They were going to liberate North Africa and the Holy Land from the Muslims. And since Christopher Columbus knew that Spain wanted to eradicate this Muslim winning streak, he positioned this trip to America as a good play for new Christian territory. Is that wild? Does that explain chapter 1? You begin by knowing your customers' hobbies. You got to know their personal likes and dislikes, and then you base your approach on that particular angle. What was chapter 2 I gave you? Use more ear and less tongue. Now get your mind out the gutter, right? Because what we're talking about is sales here, right? So what you do is you give your customer the center of the stage. The main thing ain't the talk. So many of us think that salesmen talk all the time, but that's not your main goal. Again, he had to listen. I want you to think about this. Since he knew that crusade they wanted to start, he listened well enough to know that that would have lasted decades. It would have lasted at least a century or two. Now they got little manpower left for anything else. They have no treasure to invest into anything else. Again, Columbus was able to pull it off because he understood a long-term vision. He understood where their current plan was going to have them headed up, and he put all of that into his sales pitch. Am I making sense today? Here's chapter 3, right? Put service before the sample. Like, study your customers' problems and needs. Try to help them move their goods. Like my man Kerman just now talked about. My man Dichi in the house. What's up, baby? My man Kerman was just now talking about how, I don't know how many know this story, but Christopher Columbus literally convinced and then helped Queen Isabella hawk her jewelry to finance the trip. That's a cold dude. That's a cold dude. I'm going to tell you the name of the book in a minute, Ali. The book ain't where I'm getting the Columbus stuff. The book is just where I'm getting the chapters. And then I'm using the chapters to explain Columbus's story. Here's something else that I want you to know about chapter 3. We said, put service before samples. Like, you got to serve before you deserve, right? Y'all know that's my quote. That the way the book said it was put service before samples. Check this out. Conquering America, where they hadn't even discovered iron yet, was also going to be a hell of a lot easier than trying to recapture Jerusalem, which was already guarded by cannons. Think about that for a minute. So Columbus knew his market. He understood how to pitch this thing and not get a bunch of people destroyed. You got to understand, the option of conquering America wasn't even available until Columbus came and brought it back to Europe with his sales pitch. Chapter 4 I gave you. You got to mention quality before price. You got to know your goods through and through. You have to know your services, your product to the bone. And then it's the art of dramatizing a sale. But check it out. Aside from all the other lies he told, one glaring lie that he told was he told them that he'd found untold riches on one of the poorest islands in the whole Caribbean. right? So he added drama to it, right? He added drama to the sale. How good are you at doing that? How good are you at painting the picture of what it's going to look like after the sale goes through? You know, Jim Rohn has this famous thing where it's like, he's talking about car sales. And he walk up to the car line, like, tell me about the car. And then the dude start lifting the hood. He's like, no, tell me about the car. How do you dramatize the sale? Some of y'all, when y'all are selling your opportunity or you're selling your products and services, you start talking about how, you know, they're going to mail the letters and you get customer service. No. They want to know about the car. They don't want to know about the car. They don't want to know about the motor and the engine. So when he's dramatizing the sale, he's letting them know about all the riches they're going to be able to reinvest in further exploits. Does this make sense? Chapter 5. I told you this already. Chapter 5 was don't take no for a final answer. Somebody give me that in the comments. I should have had y'all typing these chapters out. Don't take no for a final answer. Somebody give me that in a share. Let me make sure y'all still with me. I'm tripping right now. I know everybody knows where I'm going with this one. Don't take no for a final answer. Give me that in the share. Don't take no for a final answer. You with me? What's up, Demeter? Appreciate that, Ali. Yeah, appreciate that, Queen. Service before samples. Don't take no for a final answer. Let's get it. Appreciate that, Miss Toy. Don't take no for a final answer. Exactly. I got so much to give that I'm going too fast this morning, and we ain't even got a chance to kick it with each other, man. I appreciate everybody holding me down after my little medical procedure and whatnot. I'm still recuperating a little something, but I'm tough. You know what I mean? So I said, nah, it's Columbus Day. I get to come on a little bit late. We're going to get busy. What's up, Tracy? I'm glad you made it, Queen. Don't take no for a final answer. I like that, Mike Stroud. So with Christopher Columbus, how that plays in is that with Christopher Columbus, I don't know if you know, but he started out with 5 different ships and lost like 2 or 3 of them, right? But he kept on going. I'm going to get deeper into that in a minute, but I want you to think about that and measure yourself against that. Because, yeah, we hate the fact that he was a pirate. We hate the fact he was a slave trader. We hate the fact that he came and almost helped decimate the population with disease, right? A rapist, him and his crew just raping and just pillaging and all of this stuff. But check it out. And that, by the way, is not what we mean by don't take no for an answer. Like, definitely a despicable human being, but you can learn from anything. They say a wise man can learn from even a fool, even though a fool can't even learn from a wise man. You get what I mean? There's a difference between making a sale and taking a sale. I want you to see this as a real example of salesmanship this morning. Here's chapter number 6. Millionaires, you gotta watch for your chance to talk. You gotta get down. You gotta cut to the chase immediately. Somebody give me that in the comments. Cut to the chase. Cut to the chase. How did this come in with Columbus, right? Chapter 6 of this book, I'm gonna tell you the name of the book in a minute, but chapter 6 was like cut to the chase, like hurry up and get to it. Do you know how many times this man had to talk his men out of killing him? You got to remember, they're out here selling. They have no idea where they are. They're going completely off his word because he claims that he had done this already, and then he came back to get everybody. Think about this. He had to talk his behind off like Eddie Murphy in one of them 48 Hours movies, or really any Eddie Murphy movie before he became, a clean comedian and all of that. But my point to you is that imagine having to not only finish selling to the queen, but now you have to sell to your own crew before they not only quit on you, but before they kill you and then quit on you. So what did he have to do? Keep on reminding them they'd be legends. And that was another lie, because you can't even name me nobody in Christopher Columbus's crew, right? I mean, maybe as a collective that, his crew did it, but he had to cut to the chase and remind them of their why. I think that's something that your boy Deontay Wilder could have used a little bit more of. And in a few of those fights, one of the fights before the Wilder Fury fight, one of the guys was talking about how, man, in a motivational talk, you can't just tell them jab, jab, duck, and all of that. You gotta remind them why they're doing it. What is their why? You get what I mean? All right, here's chapter 7. Build goodwill. Build goodwill. Now, how Christopher Columbus did this was largely by selling the odds that how many more days can we do this before we possibly see new land? You think I'm going to have y'all out here and I ain't for real about where we going? I know where we're going. I've been there before. Listen, we just need one more day. We just need one more day. Chapter 8, constantly search for new markets. Chapter 8, constantly search for new markets. So what do we mean? We mean make several missionary calls every week. That's what they tell you in the salesmanship book. Well, if he wouldn't have done this, not only would we not have a Columbus Day or a Columbus, Ohio, et cetera, but here's something I want you to think about. The Europeans committed a lot of evils upon the Native Americans, and you can't deny that, right? They're rightly condemned for that. But check it out. While the Europeans were savages, so were the natives, y'all. So were the natives. Cortez didn't conquer the human sacrificing Aztecs with 50 conquistadors. No, he conquered the Aztecs with 50 conquistadors plus a 1,000,000-man army that was made up of all these subjugated tribes that were fed up with getting their hearts ripped out every time the Aztecs wanted to celebrate a new holiday. Think about that. Any of y'all seen Apocalypto? Because I know it's cool to make it sound like the white man just came and he was this evil creature and everybody else was sitting around playing their instruments and stuff and picking mangoes. Nah. Y'all ever seen Apocalypto? When the Aztecs would have a new holiday, they would rip the heart right out the chest. You know, all that sacrificing the virgins to the gods and all that. This is real stuff. Anyway, I'm just throwing that out there because it's always convenient to blame somebody else. It's always convenient to make it sound like, you know, you a villain right now in somebody's story. They ain't taking no blame on themselves. They always going to blame you for all their problems. Right now, some of y'all are salt of the earth and you still a villain in somebody's story. So yeah, I'm with tearing down a bunch of the statues because I believe that a lot of the iconography, a lot of this is a cult. They're making you praise people and you don't even know their story. But Christopher Columbus is a little bit different, y'all. We have some things we can learn from this saga. You see where I'm going with this, y'all? Chapter 9 said, classify your time. How do you value the different hours of the day? What's the best time to make a sale? Check it out. Well, Christopher Columbus, I feel, used this because previous to him, all the westward journeys involved, I don't expect y'all to be circumnavigators and all of this, or what you call the people that make a map, cartographers. I ain't expecting you to do that. But check it out. The way that people normally sailed because they believed the earth was flat, right, was you had to head north out the Mediterranean, and then you turn west across the Atlantic. So that would put you in the teeth of the wind. Now the wind is blowing against your ship. So what Columbus did was chart his course to go south once he got out the Mediterranean, and then turn towards the west. Now the wind is behind him. This is a big deal. This helped him to make a lot more use out of his time. What are you doing to make more use out of your time, salesman? And if you're an entrepreneur, believe me, you're a salesman. You get what I mean? Chapter 10. Keep mentally and physically fit. Vaccinate yourself against worry. A lot of people think, and we spend a lot of time on making ourselves into better seeds. And what you're not looking at is the soil you in. You're not looking at the soil you in. You know, I always talk about environment, but environment is not just your physical environment, which we call a habitat. Shouts out to the Kaizen Academy. And everybody was on that class this weekend dealing with habits, right? But environment ain't just habitat. Environment is also your culture, the people that are around you. You know, you got negative people around you. It's hard to stay positive, right? They always complaining, draining you, right? That's hard. So he had to keep himself vaccinated against that. I just told you his crew wanted to kill him. And then you have the fact that you got to have an environmentality. What is your mentality? Yes, environment is stronger than willpower. But guess what? Environment ain't stronger than your mentality, because you're the one that decides if this day right here, Columbus Day, is there to make you feel dejected or there to motivate you. That's your thoughts that decide that. So environment's stronger than willpower, true. But environment ain't stronger than your thought process. Environment ain't stronger than your philosophy. I just want y'all to think about something. What is the mindset this man had to have as a leader of 5 different ships? 2 of them have already gone over on their side. He's lost 2 of them and still got to show back up to Spain and let them know, like, oh, snap. I know half your fortune you put on this. You hocked your jewelry. Them ships is gone. What is the mindset he had to have? He had to be vaccinated against a loser mentality. You get what I'm saying to you? He had to have 3 points of view. 1, I know the new land is out there. 2, I'm going to find it. And 3, it's going to be worth it when I do. Think about that for a minute. Chapter 11, be a philosopher. Be a little bit of a philosopher. That's what I got for you for chapter 11. Be a little bit of a philosopher. Here's what I'm saying to you. For all the brutality and the inhumanity of the medieval Catholic Church compared to the Aztec religion, man, it was damn near touchy-feely. You heard of the Spanish Inquisition and all of that. The Catholic Church went hard. You know, right now, you know, that's the main bastion of the mafia bosses. And they murder everything moving, everything that goes against their family. And they all in church every Sunday. The Catholic Church, right? We know that there's a lot of... every saint has a past. Every sinner got a future. That's all I'm saying. Stop judging people so much. But check this out. If you're a philosopher, then what you realize is that everything is relative, y'all, even evil. Even evil. I'm just trying to get you to think about this Columbus Day a little bit different. All right. And then here's chapter 12 I had for you. Create welcomes for yourself. Turn your customers into friends, right? Turn your customers into cheerleaders. That's chapter 12 in his book. And here's what I got for you on that. While Columbus personally did evil that none of us can deny, it's his audacity that I feel like is worthy of celebrating. Because who amongst us is without sin? Let them cast the first stone. But here's what I know. He had a bit of audacity that is why he has a day-to-day. Because think about it. It was because of him, his second voyage, and then his third, and then later the whole exploration of the new continents that he was able to pull off after he came back to Spain with almost nothing. He came back the first time with nothing, y'all. The immense wealth of the Americas was at least 50, 60, 75, 100 years in the future. This fool came back with a couple of parrots and a couple of natives to prove that he actually went there. And then they died pretty much immediately. But by the force of his own personality, y'all, he convinced the Spanish court that he had achieved greatness. And that's why he got a day. What Kermit would call public relations. Those chapters was wild, right? Now, when you get this book, it has nothing to do with Columbus Day. It has nothing to do with Christopher Columbus. That was all us. But the title of the book, for those that want to know, is called Tips for the Traveling Salesman. It was written by a guy named Herbert Casson, and it was written in 1927. Wow. Almost 100 years ago, that book was written. Again, has nothing to do with Christopher Columbus, but those 12 chapters are the table of contents right out of that book. They always say if you want to learn something new, then read something old. You get what I'm saying? Why? Because a lot of times all that's missing is a new perspective. What you're trying to do is stretch your perspective. My brother was talking about it yesterday, like how, men a lot of times come from logic and then go towards emotion, whereas women come from emotion first and then go towards logic. If we're going to win, we have to stretch our perspective. Y'all hear what I'm saying? I know you, though. You know everything already. Check it out. The problem ain't knowing it. The problem is doing it. The problem is doing it. The problem is doing it. Here's a couple examples of you knowing everything but not doing it. You know you should be preparing for your sales calls by doing research on the company, by doing research on the person you're meeting with before you make the call. Do you do it? You know you should be listening to sales podcasts and books and YouTube videos and Good Morning Millionaire videos at least an hour a day in your car. But do you do it? Now, I know you different, right? All of y'all different. He ain't talking to me. He ain't talking to me. That's right. That's right. Herbert Casson, Dr. Marilyn. Herbert Casson, Casson. Herbert Casson. But I'm sure all of us are different, right? You always take the right actions, right? You always implement the right strategies, don't you? You always know what to do in every situation. I know. When they don't buy, it's always their fault. They stupid, right? It's their fault. It ain't your fault, right? It must be, y'all, because I've been training entrepreneurs for 30 years at this point. That sounds crazy saying it. I've been training entrepreneurs for over 30 years at this point. About 33, 34 years. I've been training entrepreneurs, right? And all I'm saying to you is that there's a big difference in knowing something and doing something. There's a difference between, and the difference between knowing it and doing it is also the difference between mediocrity and success. All I'm saying to you this morning is rather than casting judgment on this dude, remember, a wise man can learn from even a fool, and a fool can't even learn from a wise man. If you're ready, let's kick it with the affirmations. Hope that was helpful to somebody out there. It's affirmation time. My man Earl the Pearl holding it down with the affirmations. Because I'm not even supposed to be using this much energy. I'll be getting all hype. I'm not even supposed to be using all this energy, but call in. We're going to do our affirmations real quick. Again, I want to shout out everybody who was on the Kaizen Academy class this weekend. We need those testimonies. Send us your name and your phone number. And if you wouldn't mind, we need a testimony. My man Earl the Pearl, you there yet, bro? It's affirmation time. We're going to get started right now. Call in right now. Call in right now.
All participants are muted.
I'll be doing it myself in probably like another week. I'll get back to doing it myself. But right now, I appreciate my man Earl the Pearl and Miss Crystal Clear for holding it down for us. All right, y'all, let's get it.